Hi everyone, this is Lisa, and today I'm going to show you this cute card to make to cheer a friend up. This card is greatly influenced by the Simon Says Stamp March card kit that includes these classic journaling cards that have real pretty yellow and black images, and especially the one with the Eiffel Tower that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to make a tag, and to get started I'm going to use the Pretty Pink Posh and mark the inside of the tag so that I know where I want my stamp to be placed. So I'm going to be using this stamp set by Penny Black called A Day in Paris, and you can see I'm placing the stamp on between the two marks, and I'm going to double check the height of it to make sure it falls within it. Then I'm going to stamp my image with archival ink. This is a good ink since I'm going to be using watercolor. I'm using watercolor paper and I'm inking up the stamp real well, and then I'm stamping the image. Once the image is stamped, I'm going to off camera stamp it on a post-it note, and then I'm going to cut the image out to create a mask. And then I'll put the post-it note down, and then you can see where I'm going to stamp my next image, the Eiffel Tower and some trees. So then I stamp the image, and when I take the mask off, you can see that the image is in front and the Eiffel Tower is in back. And now I'm going to start coloring my image. I started coloring the trees and forgot to record, but I will tell you the colors I used. I used peeled paint and forest moss and vintage photo for the stems. So for this whole image, the method I'm using is you can see my block on the side there. I'll take my distress markers and scratch a little of the ink, and then my water. I'm using a number 2 watercolor brush. And then I just get a little bit of water, and then I start coloring the image. Here I'm coloring the dress in some bundled sage, and I'll make sure the dress is dry. And then for the hat I used barn door, and I'll go back and use barn door for the flowers on the dress also. For the hair I used vintage photo, and for the skin I used antique linen and tattered rose to kind of give it a little pinkish feel. Here you can see I'm going back and coloring the flowers, each little one. And then I'll go back and color the book. I used black soot and vintage photo to give it a little bit of a shadow there on the left hand side. I'm imagining that the light is coming from the right. And then I actually used some bundled sage directly on there to give the dress some more fill. And then here I'm using black soot to add some shadows to the image. And you can see I also forgot to record, but I did use some liquid pearls. Onyx pearl is the color on the side there to add to the tag. Here I'm taking my card base and I'm scoring it, and then I'm going to fold it in half and get a nice crease there on the side. And here is my pattern paper I cut out from that classic paper. I'm adding some adhesive, and then I'm going to attach it to my card base. Very carefully there, you can see I'm lining it up. Then I'm going to take my tag and place it on the card and get my placing where I want to stamp my sentiment. And I'll use my static bag there to make sure I get all the static off. And then I'll use my Versamark ink to stamp the sentiment on the card base. Then I'll place a scrap piece of paper underneath it and put my embossing powder on top. I use the Judykins black opal embossing powder, and then I tap it off. You can see I missed a little part there, so I go back and put a little bit more on, tap it off. Then I'm going to use my paintbrush and get all the extra embossing powder off. You want to spend the time and clean it up real well. Put your embossing powder back in the jar, and then clean up real well with a baby wipe. Make sure you get all that embossing paste off your workstation. Then emboss with your heat tool. Then take your foam adhesive and you're going to place it on the back of the tag. You can see I did that here, and then I put it on the back, and I'm going to place it on the card, and that completes the card. and hopefully you enjoyed tuning in today. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. You can also subscribe or tune into my blog at scrappyrx.blogspot.com. Thank you and have a great day.